Hello, hello, my fellow friends. We are here with the Immigrant Boss Show. And today I have Claudia Mosley, a female that's really having great success in the payment industry, the payment processing industry. This is the channel from immigrants to immigrants, so you can know some tips and you can see inspiring stories, okay, with us. So with us, Claudia, I am Augusto the captain. Great, Claudia, how are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me.
That's amazing. It's very cool to see you here with us. And it is great to share your story. You know, we were here in the discussing a little bit, guys. We were here discussing a little bit some struggles that we have, and this is the first episode in our channel, and it's always good to see a little bit how other immigrants, you know, their challenges and the way that their families handle all this American dream. So this is a channel about the American dream. So you're talking to me. Tell me a little bit more. You know, you were mentioned how your mother came back in the 80s. And how it was, you know, all the preparation, how she did it. It's a beautiful story. Can you share with us a little bit how it was?
Absolutely. So my mom immigrated from Bogota, Colombia in the early 80s. She left her professional back and came here to build opportunities for my twin sister and I. She saw the need for her to immigrate to the United States due to the war with the drug cartels already starting in Bogota. By the time we immigrated in 1989, it was in the peak. Bogota, in those days, we would go out to school and not knowing if we were going to come back because there was bombs everywhere in Bogota. You never knew when a bomb was going to explode. So it was a very, very difficult time in Colombia. So we immigrated here. Fortunately, to Mount Vernon, New York. I graduated from Mount Vernon High School.
Let me stop a little bit because you mentioned to me something very interesting, you know, and it's part of so many stories of immigrants. You mentioned that your mother came first, right? And she had to stay to prepare a little bit the space for you, like little kids to come after. And I think how many years she needs to stay here before she brought you?
About 6 years. She was fortunate enough to get her papers through the amnesty that Ronald Reagan gave. Was the last president who gave an amnesty, and she was blessed enough to be under that amnesty, and that's why we were able to come right after.
And when she came, we didn't have all these Zoom meetings and FaceTimes and stuff, right? So I can try to picture myself in your shoes, right? I'm 10 years old. How old you were when she immigrated?
We were 8.
8. Okay, so
And then we
8.
came back when we were 14.
Okay, so I try to picture myself a little bit when you were talking about this. You know, I imagine myself, my kids, right? They are 8 years old, you know, and in the pursuit of a better life, you know, my mother, you know, go to a different country and stays like 4 or 6 years without this personal like in-person connection and without videos and anything like this. How did you feel, and how it was this process for you to understand that and try to get it, because you're kids, right? You don't understand my mother is getting to create a better future for me.
It was hard. However, my mom is a single mom, so we were very used to staying with my grandmother. Even in Colombia, she was the provider, and we were staying with our grandma. So it was hard not to see her, but we used to communicate via phone all the time. Obviously, we were not able to see each other, but we were able to speak to each other, and we were able to stay very well connected.
Through phone. What was the main topics or the things that you discussed by the time? And could you get it? Could you get it what she was doing? Were you a little bit angry? Were you accepting the fact? How all this process came to your understanding?
In fact, my sister and I were very eager to come to the United States because even back then, coming to the United States was like the big thing, and we were very looking forward to it. In fact, when we got here, we were 14 years old, And soon after, Yamalet and I started working so we can help her. Not that she asked us to, but because that's how we were raised. And back then, there was so much opportunities for immigrants. I was able to grow up in an area where there is a lot of culture. In Florida, you don't see that culture. In Mount Vernon, there is the huge Brazilian community with the Brazilian American Club. There's a huge Portuguese community with the Portuguese American Club. The Greek, the Italian, and every other culture has an American club where all of them get together to party, to play. So it was an
Was
amazing opportunity to also meet other cultures when we got here.
That's pretty cool. So it was very diverse, right? It was had you had diversity there, so you can exchange and you don't feel so alone. That sometimes as an immigrant you feel alone because you don't find a way to get into integrate ourselves into the culture, right?
And it gave us opportunity for us to meet other cultures. Like the Portuguese culture was huge for us, and it was their club was literally like in the corner of our house. So my mom felt safe for us to go there. They used to do dances every other Saturday. On the summer times, they used to do picnics with bands. And the Portuguese culture is very family oriented. So it was a great, great opportunity for us to also meet different cultures, which was great growing up.
That's pretty cool. Um, what do you think was when your mother? Let me circle back to the story of her mother. She came here, right, and she was discovering she
She
spoke
didn't speak
English.
English, no.
Okay, okay. So
Now
she
she
didn't.
does.
She didn't speak English by the time, like me. The same story that I had. I have to try to get it. But she didn't speak English by the time. She had to capture the English, the English language. She was completely alone without the family. I know that you are not in her scheme, but what was the most challenging elements for her being here as an immigrant, distant from the family, without speaking English, and what was the good practice that you think? What was the good stuff that she did that helped her to have these two very successful, children, daughters? What she did right?
Well, since we were little, she always told us that hard work and responsibility is the only way you're going to get paid off in life. So she's always been a very hardworking person, and she knew that the only way that she could have an opportunity to stay was by paying taxes. From the minute she got here, she was earning cash, but she was declaring everything because it was the only way that she could show when she had the opportunity to bring us that she was an asset and not that she was going to depend on the government. And she always also encouraged us that you should not depend on the government unless you really, really need to. But if you don't, you should give others the opportunity that really need it. So my mom was always a hard worker, hands-on, very go-getter, not a businesswoman. She was never, I think that we took the business side from my father. Yeah, because she doesn't like risk. My mom is very takes her steps.
Okay.
We like my father were more into like adventure and let's see, where life can take us. And when we opened our business 18 years ago, it was a challenge. But it was great because we really loved what we did. We worked in a merchant services company for few years, and that company sold for very profitable gains. And then Yamalet and I decided to open our own merchant service provider with all of the experience that we had from that company, but given our own values.
That's pretty cool. So even knowing that your mother has like a little bit of more conservative
Conservative, very
mindset, right? You could develop your own entrepreneurship, being this American dream country, right? But the thing is, something that I got from you, I think it's extremely important. Is like if you come to the United States, Okay, and if you want to grow, if you want to have success, you have to play by the rules, and you have to show value, right? And it was, I know that even if you went to a different type of, you know, path, more entrepreneurial path than, no risk taker path that she get, you could get this lesson from her, and pay the taxes, contribute to the country, be a giver, you know. Don't try to take advantage from the system, because a lot of people come here and they try to take advantage, right, from the system. Try to do your best, work hard. She was a hard worker. She was contributing to the country, right, to the community, through taxes, through other types of contributions, and she could create a space for her daughters to develop into the entrepreneurship. She kind of landed and organized a little bit the infrastructure for you and your sister. Do you agree with me?
Oh, absolutely. And back in the 80s, we had such a great opportunities to go to college, and take advantage of the programs that they had back then. So it was a life changing, which she always knew that all we needed was a different space in a country with opportunities that Colombia didn't have back then.
That's pretty cool. And then now that we discussed a little bit how it was coming to here, tell me about you. You arrived like 14 years old, right? What how old you were?
Yeah, we were 14.
Okay. How challenging it was to be a kid here. I don't know if you spoke. Did you
No.
speak English back then? No, right?
Not at all.
So tell me a little bit your story now.
Yeah.
How it was for you to arrive here, 14 years old, of course, and not knowing the language with people that speak English, in a completely different culture that you have. I know that you have the calls with your mother, but back then you don't have so much access to information, to videos and stuff. How it was for you arriving here? When you arrive here, what do you feel when you arrive in the? Did you arrive through the airport or what? How do you feel? Say, oh my gosh, I'm here. What was your feelings?
So we got here on Labor Day week in 1989, and the next day literally is we started school, because in New York they start school the day right after Labor Day weekend, and we were laid back. In Colombia, the high school ends at 11th grade. Here ends at 12th. So we typically should have gone to ninth grade, but they said it was better for us to go into the 8th grade so that we can learn the English before we went into high school. And I think that was an amazing proposition by the school system, because we were able to learn English in about 6 months. Also because we were, and I say we because Yamalet and I are identical twin sisters, so we're very close. And we took the same approach through our lives. And one of the approach when we first came here was, let's hang around not with the Latin community, because otherwise we're not going to learn the language. And we wanted to learn the language as soon as possible. So our friends were like the Portuguese or the Brazilian, that if we had to communicate, we could, because Portuguese and Spanish is very similar, but it forced us to really speak the language. So we were fortunate enough to learn the language within 6 months. And then when we went to high school, we were already out of ESL back then. We were thriving. Yamalad got to represent the high school for the Spanish community with, back then, was Mayor Cuomo. And it was an amazing experience in Albany, and she was representing Mount Vernon High School in the Latin students. So even as young, we will always take entrepreneur positions even within the school.
That's cool. So yeah, so this is a very, very actionable tip, that advice that you have, guys, from Claudia. If you come to the other tip is like, the first one was like from her mother, right? So contribute to the work, play the game the right way, which is taxes and stuff, because it's gonna ramp up a lot your development here. Second one, anyway, is like, go a little bit outside the box, the comfort zone, and push into the like, to be forced into speak like English.
The language.
And that's very interesting because for me it was a little bit similar. I came like 7 years ago, and then when I started coming to the United States, I decided to join this business group, and Claudia, I met Claudia there, and didn't speak any English back then, and I remember myself coming to the meetings, and there's those meetings, everyone's have to speak a little bit about their own businesses, and I was going to the meetings, and I was sitting at a very round table, big round table, with a lot of American guys or successful people from other countries, all speak English, and they were speaking in the front of the room, and I was like, I cannot freaking understand this guy. What I'm gonna do? And I was coming every single week without understanding people, forcing myself. And it was really super challenging. And of course, when I had to speak, it was horrible. It was.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I remember you, and I always actually talk about you because I remember when you came into the group and see your evolution, how you evolved in such a little time. It's impressive because as kids, it's so easy for us to learn a language or to learn something because we're still young. But when you already pass your teen years, it becomes harder and harder. So I actually admire you because you did it in such a short time, and now you blossom
Thank
like
you.
in your business and everything. So it's great. It's great to see you like that.
Yeah, I think that I approached, even being in my 30s, I approach the learning of the language as a kid because I didn't try to restrain myself. I really was, even now, even to create this podcast, it's a challenge for me because I know that I not speak everything right, and I still have some grammar or spelling mistakes. But one of the things that I think was good for me and opened a lot of doors was approaching the understanding and the learning of the language as a kid. What it means, don't restrain yourself, be comfortable, and accept yourself with your imperfections. And kids, they don't care if they're speaking right or wrong. They speak, they go there and they try to put themselves to connect with people without any restraint or without any limitations. And sometimes it's difficult, guys, to put in your mind this and accept yourself. But you have to understand that the other side, they don't care in general. Sometimes you say, "Oh, I'm going to speak wrong. People's going to feel that I'm a horrible person or I don't deserve something." But let me tell you this: this is a country that people accepts a lot the differences. And for example, this business group, everybody accepts me the way that I am, even knowing that some of them have like high degrees of education in English or they're American born, they have high education degrees and understanding studies. But just put out there your efforts, work hard and be open to make mistakes. I think.
And that's a great point that you just made because I know so many people from Colombia that were lawyers, doctors, professionals, and they come here, and obviously they cannot be a doctor here unless they do the whole career again. So that you lose your career in that perspective, and a lot of immigrants need to like realize that and be open minded to realize that you become who you are the day you get here. Whatever you did in the past, whatever money you had, whatever cars you had, whatever society you left in your country, it's gone. The value is the day you get here and what you do. And what I think it was Ronald Reagan that said, it's about what I can do for the country and not what the country can do for me. And that goes on that sentences goes along with in any perspective. When you're going to work for a company, is how much you can do for that company, not what that company is going to do for you. Because at the end, when you do for that company, and people see that, I remember my first job. I started making cappuccinos in a Italian coffee shop. And I remember that day and the advice my boss gave me at the time, my first boss. And I used to work Wednesday nights Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 5, and every time I came to the cafe, it was a disaster. So I would clean the bathrooms, I would clean everything, leave everything shiny. And he said that to him. He walked in one day and said, you should never change that ethical work that you have. If you keep it up in this country, you're going to go far. Because every time I come to this place and you're working, this place is shiny. It's only when you're working. So that gave me a great experience as to listen from another immigrant person to another immigrant. And I was a child. I was 16 years old. But that stuck with me. And no matter where I went, and no matter what, now I have my own company, but I worked in corporate America. And it always stuck with me. I always asked for more. And how can I learn more? How can I do more? Without asking for more money. Just, the more you do, the more you learn. Everything is a learning experience in this country, in this world. So it's not about restraining yourself, but offering and what else can I do?
Yeah, guys, be a giver. It's always important for our growth, right?
So currently also we in town, it's been since 2010, we fundraise for nonprofit organizations locally. And that's the way that we found to fundraise for my organization in Colombia. Because it's harder for people to give you money if it's always going international. But if you fundraise for a local organization and you divide the funds, then not only you giving the opportunity to the business people that are coming to those events to see how they can get involved in other local organizations, and there are beautiful organizations in Fort Lauderdale. But also a lot of them have come to Colombia with me. And I think that's one thing that I keep giving to Colombia, even though I left so young, is that I always wanted to help. And we have an organization called Global Dreams USA. We support unprivileged young adults that have scholarships to universities, but some of them, they can't fulfill it because they don't have a place to live. They, at 18 years old, they have to leave their I don't know how you call them there, like their homes, like foster homes, if you will. Yeah. At 18.
This is in Colombia?
In Colombia.
Oh,
and
cool.
You in any country at 18 you become an adult.
Yes.
So you have to be out.
To find your
but
own means.
in a Latin American country it's even harder. Yes. Because an 18-year-old is viewed as an adult, and not everybody wants to help the adults. People want to help the little kids, because I did it. For throughout 2010 until 3 years ago that I got involved, and I'm in the board, and I fell in love with what I do in Global Dreams. And, we give the opportunity to college students that really want to graduate by giving them room, board, and transportation.
And that's what is cool, guys. Let me tell this. To be happy, the better way to be happy is when you are happy for someone else, happy state. So something that you can see here is like whenever you come to the country and you really work hard and you create your space and you are a giver, you can extend this value, you can extend this prosperity to your own country. And that's beautiful because you connect the country, and we are in a global world right now, right? Everything connects, and it's beautiful to see. I didn't know as much, and I want to contribute a little bit because, for me, one of the ways that I collaborate with my country is I hire remote people from my country.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if there's certain types of jobs that I can do remote and like contribute to a little bit there, I hire, so I create a little bit of prosperity there. You understand? So probably I can collaborate with you and be sponsoring some guys who learn English and be even hire them as interns remotely. So they can.
Oh, that will be amazing!
Yeah,
my God, thank you.
And I'm gonna have a partnership here with, American students that we're gonna give some opportunities to be interns for us in the franchise structure that we're creating. But I can also, why not, hire a little bit like interns. I gave opportunities for them to learn throughout the country. So it's beautiful what you do, and it inspires me. It inspires me a lot. Tell me a little bit, Let's circle to the entrepreneurship path, which is very important. And I see that you are an amazing entrepreneur, female entrepreneur, which is like twice sometimes more challenging, right? Coming from another
Oh,
country,
it's
being an
industry.
immigrant, and then be a female entrepreneur into the financial industry, which is the payment processing solutions and stuff like your
Powered by men.
yeah, powered by man. So tell me a little bit what makes you what. Tell me some secrets. Tell me if you want. Give me the secrets that you have to have this successful company with great connection. Everybody loves you so much and doing business with you. What is the secrets that you had to be an entrepreneur and to be a female immigrant entrepreneur in Colombia in one of the most like male industries, right?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing that I can say is be honest.
Okay.
And when you have the motive to help people, truly help people, I have clients that have been with us 18 years and they will not go anywhere unless it's with us. And that's great because you build a strong relationship with the base of honesty, transparency, and great customer service. Because in this business, I hear it a lot. They come with me because they said, you're the only one that picks up the phone. And I have 800 numbers, but I always encourage all of my clients to have my cell phone number because I always say I am a text or a phone call away. If I don't pick up the phone, text me because I could be in a meeting. But I will always resolve whatever issue you have. And I think that's what gives us the secret too is that we are problem solvers. So we cannot guarantee that our technology is not going to fail or that you're not going to have a dispute, a chargeback from a client. But I can promise you that I will hold your hand and I will fight for you and I will make sure that everything gets resolved. We are a banker, we're an electronic bank, and we deal with very sensitive issue, which is money to our clients. And obviously, if something happens, you want to be able to be that company that resolve the issue no matter what. And the reputation that we have built in this community is exactly because of that, because we are transparent. This industry have 3 different price models, and it could be very complicated to understand as a merchant. So when I sit down with a merchant, the first thing that I educate them is on price model and why they shouldn't go through any other provider if it's not with the same price model. But I think to the question that you said, the success is really how honest and transparent you can be, and that goes along with any industry or any job that you go out there.
I think that there is one side of it, but I'm gonna highlight another side of it. Probably gonna come back to the time when we were an assistant and someone tell you, "Hey, it's shiny, this beautiful place that you put here with your old employer." I think by the way that you said to me is you treated your customers as the same time that you learned back then. So you're always proactive. You're always trying to do a little extra mile. You're always trying to do something different that will bring value to them. That in general, I don't know, if you go to other like processing companies, they're gonna get into an AI or in a digital responder, and they're never gonna get a really good value that you can provide.
No, and in this industry, for the salespeople, that they're being taught as a cookie cutter,
Yes.
but not really understand the industry.
Okay.
So that's also what makes us different. Being in this industry for over 20 years, our own business for 18, I know the ins, outs, and everything that has to do with this industry. But for what you said, our clients grow as I grow. So back then, a few years ago, I didn't have my own gateway. So I had to, refer gateways like USAE Pay, Authorize.net, which become another expense for the client. Once we had our own gateway and it was inclusive with the merchant account, I went back to a lot of my clients and said, look, you don't have to spend money on that gateway anymore. I can switch you to my new platform and you can have access to your own gateway without paying any extra. An amazing gateway that includes virtual terminal, recurring billing, payment link. You can also connected to QuickBooks online. So
Let's
great.
let's come to the average Joe here because I'm an average Joe. What is talking about payment? So let's say I'm an immigrant and I open my business, right? And I need someone that speaks Spanish or that is super like trustworthy. What it means having your own gateway and what it even means, what is a gateway? Because people do not understand what is a gateway, a payment gateway. So can you explain me a little bit the easier way? Because I think it's going to be extremely important for any entrepreneur that's trying to start a business in any type of industry. They need to have, right now you need to get paid and getting like checks or getting cash
ACH.
is becoming really, really, really rare. So we get to go to credit cards, to digital payments and stuff. So explain to us, for the guys that's starting in the company, what is a gateway and not to get mess with like the wrong payment processor, right?
So I tell you what the first mistake the immigrants make, and they go to the bank to open the bank account. And obviously the bank is going to offer a merchant account. They always go with the bank because they think that they're going to give them the best deal. And that's wrong. In fact, not only do they not give them the best deal, which is the interchange transparent rate, but they put him directly with the platform. So if something happens to you as a merchant service client, you have to call the 800 number from the platform. And you don't know how to navigate that platform. For by the time you get a human being, your nerves are already very upsetting. Now, what is a gateway? That's a great question. So let's say for a restaurant, you need a POS system, which is a point of sale system. When you are digital, when you're selling online, you need a gateway, which is the shopping cart, and the gateway gives life to the payment portion. So you need a merchant account, but you also need a gateway, which is the gateway is the one that processes and sends everything to the processor, to the merchant processor, for the clearinghouse.
So basically, the merchant like account is your, let's say like this, guys. So to be very simple, you get the money, and you have to travel the money from one portion, which is their banking account or their point of a payment, through you, right, to your own to our own home. The gateway is the road, right? That will make it happen.
The highway.
Right?
That's
highway.
what it is. Exactly what it is. And for example, to compare to some of the popular ones, Square
Okay.
has their own gateway. Square is not a merchant services provider.
Okay.
You won't get a 1099.
Okay.
Square is an aggregator,
Okay.
which is a business that use their own merchant account to process for other business.
Okay.
So now the risk is get hold by Square. And the problem about that is that whenever in Square you don't ever talk to a human being. Everything is done electronically. So what happens if you have a chargeback of $5,000 using Square? You lose the money. There's no arbitration department. They don't even give you the chance to fight it. So a lot of people think Square is easy because you fill an online application, you get approved, boom, you have a merchant account. They don't realize that it's very expensive because for the clients that are swiping only, it's 2.75%. And for the clients that are doing everything with the gateway, that is, key enter through the gateway, through payment link, the price is 3.50 and 30 cents per transaction.
Okay.
So now you're talking about huge difference. My price model, because we pass the cost and we give you a very set small percentage, so I don't penalize you. If you have a business card or a rewards card, or if you did it key enter, or if you did it swipe, I don't profit more or less. I profit the same. So when I do that, the effective rate goes down, and I have restaurants, for example, that are with us. The merchant account is about 2%, 1.90 for everything in the merchant account. Then if it's a restaurant, then you have to account their point of sale system, or if they want to be with Clover, which right now is the best technology for restaurants. I mean, Clover came out to the business about 7 years ago, and it was more geared to retailers. It's a beautiful point of sale system. Is white. It kind of works like Apple, where you can download applications. But in the last 3 years, they really focus on the restaurant side.
Okay. And guys, for you that don't understand what is a POS, POS means, and again, we are trying to
Point of
be
sale system.
point of sale system, and we are trying to be as easy for you. Sometimes it seems dumb, okay, but like we're not in a school. But sometimes, let me tell you, there's a lot of immigrants they don't know. I'm a successful business person. I did a lot, and even today I'm still learning this freaking stuff for payment. So don't be ashamed if you don't understand, okay? Go and ask dumb questions. It's always important. So POS is a point of sale. So POS is this little structure that you have. Before it was swiping the credit cards, like long time ago. You have a credit card machine and you have it. Now POS, they're digital. They're in your computer. They are in your, I don't know, tablet, So it's more or less the same, but right now they have a lot more features, a lot more integration
It
stuff.
actually helps a restaurant manage the restaurant through their phone.
Yes.
So now inventory, payroll, day-to-day payments, splitting. Let's say you have a client that comes in with 15 people and everybody want to pay for their own check. Clover, the POS system allows you to.
Guys, we are not sponsored by Clover. Okay, I want to let you know. Clover, please send money my way. I know I gave you so much tips about you here. Probably I'm gonna get this like little fidelity links, so I can get some money to finance our podcast. But Claudia is not speaking to you because she is sponsored by Clover, but because she has
it's one
a
of
great.
the products that I endorse because it's the most economical.
Yes.
And the most robust for restaurants right now.
That's pretty cool. And Clover works for restaurants, but also for retail people, right?
So Clover was designed by the biggest payment platform, which is First Data, and now it's called Fiserv.
Okay.
So it's a POS that was created by them. The one that competes with them is Stripe and Toast.
Okay.
So those three are the best right now. Because I'm the one who sells Clover, I love it. But I love it because it's very economical for the merchant as well.
That's pretty cool. It's okay, guys. Let me tell you this. Don't go to Square.
Or PayPal.
Or PayPal.
Very expensive.
Basically, you need to put a little bit more effort in the beginning, okay? This channel is not to be like referring to anyone here. They're just to make you grow. Of course, if you're around the area, around Florida or Southeast Florida, Claudia is going to be always here to help you out in your
We
business.
do nationwide.
Do national? Oh my gosh, she does nationwide. But anyways, but the point is, if it's Claudia, if it's someone in your business group, if it's anyone else, go to someone that you trust. Do not go to a PayPal or Square. Put a little effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
This would be the advice you gave to them, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, I will advise them to go to the bank more best than Square because they don't understand when they get a chargeback and it hurts. We were called by Channel 7 in 2020 because there was in Help Me Howard.
Okay.
There was a case of a guy that rented yachts. And, you can spend $5,000 for a day. And it was $5,000. The yacht was rented. The guys used it. They came back and they charged it back. And he couldn't fight it back. He lost the $5,000. So we were the company called by Channel 7 to talk about chargeback and to explain the difference between Square and a regular merchant account. And that's the most important is that you be able to communicate. Because I've become your electronic banker, it's very, very important that you have me in your phone as my payment processor.
Yes.
Something happened, you didn't get the deposit, or a deposit was short because you had a chargeback. You want to be able to have somebody that can expedite the problem.
That's amazing, guys. So again, get these tips. Tell me a little bit the expansion of your business now that you have your own gateway. And you are, and after this podcast, going to have thousands of requests. But tell me a little bit how you expand. You're going to be expanding your business. What is this journey to be, a solo entrepreneur, growing the business resources right now, putting to the next level, right? Because probably you're going to a next level. How it comes for you and how it goes for you.
Well, for us, like I said, it's been amazing because we really dedicated our time to our community. So it, we process for all the chambers in town, like Western Chamber, Pembroke Pine Chamber, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber. Have been our client for the past 8 years. So we first were focused in conquering the community. And once we were in all these chambers, that's how we got so popular in Florida. Is because when you're in a chamber, you meet a lot of business owners. You get in front of a lot of business owners. So we did it more by relationships. And the industry itself has grown a lot, has changed. A lot of things have happened, but we maintain ourselves very educated within the industry. We go to different, shows and trade shows that give us other opportunities to discover other products that our clients can have.
How are you growing your team? So are you hiring? What is next steps for you in terms of a corporate structure? Like for me right now, I'm expanding my business, so it brings a lot of different types of struggles and challenges, which is
And it's
leadership,
funny that you say
management
that.
and stuff. How are you playing?
So in the beginning, we were so focused in training other agencies, but now we decided that we just want to train local people because we want to be. Again, this is a trustworthy industry, and if I don't feel that I have somebody that do the same policies that I have, then it's going to be an issue. So we stopped hiring people that are not here locally because we had a very bad experience. And it's your reputation, it's your company. No matter who does the deal, it's your bin. So you have to, in this industry, you have to be very cautious of who, because you have no idea how many stories I've heard of merchants that people have gone in and got them into a lease of 48 months for a little terminal that costs, let's say, $250, and they put him to pay $75 a month.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and merchants don't realize that because, again, especially immigrants. The
Yeah.
immigrants come here and they don't know how to do business in the United States.
Yeah. If you're an immigrant like me, like
Like us.
Claudia, right? So I'm 100% sure that you have at least a couple of cases of people that took advantage from you,
Oh, yeah.
right? So if you don't want to take it to be taken advantage from the payment sphere, it's very important, guys, that you follow a little bit some of those tips because if not, you're gonna be completely screwed. I had to pay a lot more in terms of payment fees and stuff, and it have been a journey, and it took me like 3 4 years to figure out. You could potentially figure out this the first year. If you follow this tips and don't waste as much. And this is all about this channel, right? So you can save some time, save some money, save some stress, and you can be direct to the good practices being an entrepreneur. How about the team? So you told me. Guys, let me circle back a little bit about the building of the team. You mentioned that you try a little bit to hire other states, right? In the United
Yeah,
States,
and
didn't work well. Now you are creating and building up your teams locally.
locally.
How it have been going so far? Is it something story about someone that you have been trained? You think is a beautiful
Actually,
story?
yes, it's a beautiful story. So I met Stephanie Cates, which is one of our business partners. She was my best competitor working for Thesis.
Okay,
And when I met her, and we used to,
bump
see
your
each
heads a
other
little bit.
in different chambers.
Okay,
Well, she got laid off. And many people from the chambers came and told her, go talk to the twins, talk to Claudia, talk to Yamilet. And she did 6 years ago. And now she works with us. And it's amazing because it's been about 2 years. She bought an RV and she travels all over the United States.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she works from her RV, and she closes deals every day. If she's in California, she focuses in California. If she's in Colorado, she focuses in Colorado. She everywhere she goes, she spends about a few months in each a
Place.
state that she goes, and she's
That's
bringing
so
business from here.
crazy. Oh my god. I love it.
And she is in her 60s, almost approaching
It's like a retirement that you
retirement.
get paid, right? I'm traveling, I'm getting new experiences, as I
And
get to know more people.
residual income is what you want to build. Anything
Yes,
that gives you residuals income, it's amazing. You have to find a product in an industry that you can fall in love with. But residual income, once you get an account, you earn from that account through the life of that account. So you bring another account and you bring another account. And the key, at least in merchant processing industry, is the relationship that you built with your clients,
that's crazy. Yeah,
because that they can process. I have people processing for 18 years with us.
that's pretty cool. So, but you have so how did you train her? Are you training more people right now to be?
Yes,
Yeah.
we
How
do.
how do you build your like training program for people?
So my sister is the expert in training, and she sits down and first talks about industry itself. They don't realize how complex the payment industry is. When you have a point of sale system, let's say the old ones that are like micros and pinnacles and future POS, every POS has a back end and a front end. But you need to know which back end each of those POS systems are compatible, because not all of them are compatible to all the gateways in the front and back ends we have within the platform. So it is complex when if you go out as a sales rep and they teach you as a cookie cutter and you don't understand the industry itself, then a customer is going to ask you a question and you're not going to know about it. We want to train those reps to be like us, to actually be informative, to give the service that we give, to be on top of everything that happens within the industry. You know, so Visa, Mastercard, Discover, and American Express does reviews on their cards every year, twice a year. That doesn't mean that all of the cards go up in pricing. A lot of cars go down in pricing and a few go up.
That's cool.
But they take, most of the banking and processors take that opportunity to raise your fee every time there's a review within Visa and MasterCard.
That's crazy. That's crazy
It is
because they're
crazy.
taking advantage from you. So again, that's very cool. So guys, if you want to get more information about the financial and payment industry, Claudia is the person to go. And if you want to build your career around this, probably they can also talk to
Absolutely.
you, right? So they have this beautiful training. They are like amazing girls, super likable people. It's you cannot see the beautiful by the camera. You can see a little bit, of course, but you cannot see this being like in her presence right now. How beautiful is her energy, and I feel the energy, guys. Because I'm a yoga teacher as well. Anyways, and for like the beautiful stuff is this, as developing, as you know, I'm developing franchises into the home services industry, and I have this like huge problem because I would like to automate it a little bit. Some of the payment processing of my franchises, right? So whenever my painter, he's going to get one of my painting, my future painting franchisees, they go to do a service and get paid. I would like to make it extremely simple for them, so not have any hassle, that don't have any hiccups or problems or extra job to be getting to the franchise royalties and the marketing fees and stuff for the reinvestment. And I came to her and say, Claudia, I have this big problem. I cannot find the solution. Can you help me? So whenever we get payment, the fees goes automatically to a different point. So the guys don't need to have any hassle to be sending me like I have to send invoice and stuff. and she got beautiful, beautiful answers. Can you explain to
Absolutely.
the
So that's where the gateway,
Yeah.
our gateway comes along.
Yeah.
Great. So we have experience with franchises. When we first started our business, the main account we had was Subway.
Okay.
My sister Yamilet traveled whole United States with Jared Fogle.
Okay,
I don't know if that name sounds familiar, but he was the spokesperson for Subway.
or Subway?
And
So Jared is a key person in Subway.
was until
Was.
he went to jail.
Oh, I didn't know
Right.
this.
Yes, it was a big scandal.
Okay.
But
Hopefully, we're not involved in this scandal.
no,
I'm joking
he
with you.
was he was caught pedophile.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's
So he
bad.
ruined his career and everything.
That's so bad.
But my sister always jokes about because she said, "Well, when I went around the country with him, I was too old for him." But anyway,
So she was protected by the
yeah,
age.
by her age.
But she's not
But-
old, okay, guys? She's still a very young person.
So, but we actually learned everything that you can learn for how manage a franchise because of Subway. But we now have our gateway for the franchise that you want to have. We can give you access to all of your franchisees so you can look at the reports and see how much you're going to charge them in royalties because you actually get all of the processing payments and even their cash. Everything is like a register.
Yes.
Like a virtual register. The register not only the credit cards, but you can also account for cash and checks and the whole thing. So at the first of the month, you can, as a franchisor, you can look at your statements of all of your accounts, charge your royalty, and every franchisee has their own account, but you have access to it. You have access to the report, not to the account, but to the reporting.
Okay.
So, and the same thing
That's a good
with
way to help them to see if they're receiving the right money from the guys.
and
if
not
they're
only
paying
that, but when
the right
you
fees, right?
when you have a merchant processor, you negotiate the price for all your franchisees
good.
up front. So you already know that everybody that is going to open a business with the Captain Painter as a Captain Painter, they're going to have the best deal because you already negotiated that with us.
And we can negotiate as a whole
As
company.
a whole, exactly.
So-
So it's an amazing deal for the franchisee, and you control the cost. Though, because as a franchise, you look at every percentage that comes out, and merchant processes is one of those.
Yeah. So eventually, guys, I want to let you know, we make like a very simple account. If a franchise with a good franchisor, right, that have this kind of deal that we are building this structure with her, if she saves 1%, like over $1 million business
that's
in a
huge.
year, it's $10,000 that you can put in your family or in the business to reinvent itself and grow and create more structure, training process, whatever it is. So, so that's very important, like knowing, because when you put the money, when you start, say, 1% is nothing, right? Or 2% is nothing. But when you start
Oh, no, it is.
compounding it in 1 year, 10 years, and I don't know, 10, like whatever years you think you're gonna be in business, it's enormous. It's gigantic what you could be doing with this money, right?
And right now, the industry came up with the surcharge program or the 0% processing fees. And in Miami, it's a lot more popular than here, but it's coming here. So right now, I'm putting everybody in the platform that are using the POS, that whenever they're ready to go for it, then it's just to send a ticket and change the price model, and you don't have to change technology or anything. Everything is...
Can you explain me a little bit, because I got a little curious
So
right
the
now.
0%,
0% payment processing. What is
so
this?
that means that now your consumers are paying the 3.5%.
I see, okay.
Instead of the merchant.
So you circle back into the point of sales.
Exactly.
Okay.
So by on the either whether it's in the gateway, in the point payment, in the POS system or the credit card terminal, we have also credit card terminals that it will create that charge, that 3.50 charge.
I see.
So that you collect, and at the end of the month you already collect the fees.
That's cool.
that you're
So
gonna pay.
basically, you're gonna give your client, can pay me by check, you can pay me by, I don't know, debit
Cash.
cash, right?
And I love that you said that because
That,
debit cards,
yes,
we have two programs.
yeah,
One that is the surcharge program that you can only charge the 3.5 on credit cards.
that's
On
cool.
debit cards, the consumer
Don't pay
doesn't pay. The merchant pays 1%,
1%. Okay, so
which is a lot cheaper than what you were paying
yeah,
before.
what is Square? How much is Square?
Oh no, Square is 2.75 and 3.55 and 30 cents for transaction.
Okay, so it's almost 3%, and I'm round up, guys. I'm sorry. She cannot say that. I can. Anyways, but it's almost 3%. So you come from 3% to 1% for your customer, and Square you pay now, not your customers pay. So basically, you can give opportunities for the customers not pay anything, pay only 1%, or pay
Or pay cash or
pay
check.
more. Yeah. Anyways, so that's an amazing conversation, a lot of great knowledge, and there is one thing that you have to figure out as an immigrant here is like be always learning as much as you can. Do you agree
Absolutely.
with me?
And they should go to. I always every time I have an immigrant that just came here, I always send them to the chambers, to the BNI, so they can be educated in how to do business in the United States. That's one of the most important. And whenever I get a person like that, I upfront said the last person you want to do merchant services is with your bank. And now it's just the bank is not there to service on merchant services the way I do. Yeah, they provide the service. The pricing is not the same price model that I give unless you're educated and you know and you can negotiate with the bank. But if you don't know that, you're going to get whatever the bank gave you. And you're going to have directly with the platform. You know how they're not going to give you a rep like me where they can text you, call you any time of day, and you'll have a response.
I'm not sponsored by BNI, but if you want to send money my way, BNI, please send it my way. Sponsor a little bit this channel. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be very good because I'm a raving fan of BNI and have this kind of connections, and I put a lot of my success for being part of a business group like BNI. There is others guys too. Can go to other business groups, but BNI is something that I really like. Very structured one, but whatever you can put to be outside of comfort zone, meeting with other like business owners, meeting with other entrepreneurs is important so you can exchange ideas and learn a little bit with each other failures and mistakes and struggles. And something that is I talk to my wife this every day, because sometimes we get into our comfort zone with the Brazilian guys, right? So the same that you mentioned to me, with the Brazilian folks. So you are the average of the 5 people that you are most in contact with. And so be very good at selecting groups because every group that you select, so I'm with Claudia here now. Oh my gosh, my energy is a higher level. I'm a better entrepreneur now. So that's the same for you. So try to be outside because in general, our mind wants the normal. Our mind wants the standard. Our minds wants the average. If you keep in your average, you're never gonna grow. So you need to be going outside of the comfort zone of your own mindset and getting to meet people in a higher level than you are, exchange or the level that you wanna be. Let's put it this way: the level that you wanna be in the subjects that you wanna be, to be getting step by step there. And it was eventually my secret sauce. Claudia just asked me before, "Hey, how did you do it?" Say, put in a lot of studies. This is one thing. And hard work, this is another thing. But not only the hard work painting houses, the hard work, of course, doing good job, but the hard work understanding the own industry, learning about the industry, testing different types of systems, structures, apps, people, hiring, getting some risk, part of the being an entrepreneur. But one of the most stronger things that I did it was putting myself outside my comfort zone, meeting people that was in a higher level than I am, even being a little bit ashamed that I was so dumb, and getting a little bit of their knowledge, and not only like in person. Sometimes, guys, if you cannot meet someone in person, you can still pick their mind, reading their books, knowing their subjects through trainings and courses and stuff. So this is a way for me to connect with. I want to be a $1 trillion company. So I cannot be with Jeff Bezos, but I can learn from that Jeff Bezos, right? So this is a little bit a way to do meet physical, in-person people in your groups as good as they can be, ethical people, people that's in the industry, examples of the thing, and there is Chamber of Commerce, Rotary groups, BNIs, other local
Chambers,
communities, right? Chambers, and even communities like associations to give back to the communities, all the way to be meeting people that's in the higher level. I just went to a convention, the IFA convention, and I met so many people. I became friends with all the guys that's doing franchises, the guys that's in a higher level than me. I was on a table with a guy that have a 2,000 franchisees and say, man, I want to be like you. Can you share with me a little bit how do you do? Yes. And you see that people, they are normal. They're not as different than you are. They're a little bit what you are. They have a little bit different experiences.
And they're
But
willing
then,
to talk to you.
yeah, they're willing to
you.
talk to you. They are open. They want to contribute, because people that is in the higher level, guys, they get it. They get it that the only way for you to maintain yourself and go to the highest level is to be a giver. They get it. And one of the ways that you can be a giver is mentoring, is teaching or giving one little tip to someone, and they get it. So don't be ashamed to be the dumbest person in the room, like I was for a long time in BNI.
And another mistake that immigrants make, that whenever I see a new client that just opened, let's say a printing shop, they're used to, in their countries, they open the shop and they wait for people to come in, and they don't realize that in here is completely different. You have to go out there to get your clients. You have to go out there and network. You have to go to the different chambers so that you are seeing out there. Just because you have a front store doesn't mean that people just get to come in just because. If they don't know who you are, if they don't know, and that's, every time I get a client like that just opened their front store and they don't realize, I am a connector because I've been in this community 18 years working for the community. So I tell them, I connect them to different chambers. If they're in Western, I tell them where they are. If they're in the East, I tell them where to go. And to meet, because the only way that you're going to grow your sales is not by staying in your store and waiting for people to come into the door. You have to go out and get your clients.
That's great. So another tip, guys, a lot of freebies for you. Tips to be a good entrepreneur, be a connector. As a connector, you are the center of the connections, right? So, and you get to know like everyone and work in the qualified type of connections. It's also good. In our company, we have our culture statement, which is actional, what we call the observances, which is the actions that you need to do. And the A of the captains means accelerate connection. This is our culture stack, So we have. I'm very good. I'm very deep in culture because as a yoga teacher, I've been read a lot of different scriptures. Anyways, I come back into accelerate connections. Like what's being a connector. You have to find what is the right form, what is the right content, what is the right intensity, and what is the right time. Right form, right content, right intensity, and the right time. You have to figure out the format that you're going to be connecting. It's going to be in person. Sometimes you're going to connect by Zoom, sometimes by phone. So they have so many forms that you can be connecting with people. Right content. You need to understand what is the content of the message and how you can level this up in a higher and purest way so you can have a good exchange. Right time. There's a right timing for everyone. Okay, don't call me at 1 a.m. Call me at 5 a.m. because I wake up at 5 to do my meditation. No, that's okay. After my meditation, let's say at 6. Anyways, the right time, and then you're gonna see that some people they're ready. There's the right time to be connecting with or not. So that's something that I feel a lot. So try to figure out what is the right time for people to be connecting with you, or to what is the right time to be putting two people connecting together. And this is a very good tip Claudia gave to you. Be the connector of the relations. And the right intensity. Some people, they can have a higher level of intensity. Some people have to have a little bit lower level of intensity because sometimes you are too much. And I'm a too much sometimes. With my teams and my guys, I push too much. So sometimes you need to push a little bit less. Sometimes you need a little bit more of intensity into the connection or the communication. But being the connector and circling back to being the connector, this is something that I got like probably 1 year ago, or 6 months ago. I don't know. It was not a long time ago. I say, man, I figured out the way that I can completely extend my company in thousands of people. You have to give as much as you can and connect values as much as you can in the fastest ways that you can, the strongest way, the better way that you can, the purest way, most beautiful force of good. So how do you think this, and how immigrants, how do you see the problems in immigrants? Because let me tell you one story very quickly. I came here, I was a painter. And I was trying to open my business by the time and do service as a painting company. And I came to this other immigrant to ask him, hey, how do you do this? And the guy treated me so badly, so rude. He put so much problems to create because you need a license, because you need this, it's super difficult to do, blah, 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 blah. So he was trying to sell me out of the industry, And right now coming back to this, say, oh my gosh, this guy, he has been losing so many opportunities in his life. So what is the message that you gave to like immigrants that is well established here? When the other people that's starting up here, what they should do?
I have met many different type of immigrants. I met the immigrants that suffer when they got here, so they feel that you should suffer even more than they did. So they don't want to willing to give you any information and literally make you suffer. I know restaurateurs that treat their waiters like crap because they became, in this country, they started as a waiter. And if I suffer, you should suffer even more. And that's not the mentality. The mentality is you come to this country, if you become successful, the more connections and the more you give, the more tips that you give another business owner, the more it's going to make you grow. Because that person is never going to forget you. Because you had the patience to sit there and told them how it works in this country, which are the people that you should meet, what is the best relationships you can have. And they will always connect you back, always connect you back. So I have known very different types of immigrants, and I'm always going to say that when you come here, you should come with an open mind and an open heart, willing to work, be honest, be transparent, and then, everything flows no matter which industry you are. But you're right. One of the most important tips that an immigrant can have is once you are successful, remember where you come from and always give back. Not try to smash somebody just because you suffer on the way up. Create a very easy way for them. Not because you went through it, they have to go through it too. And I've seen a lot of that pattern. And, in fact, I said, if he was more willing to help and give tips to other people, his business will be even more successful. Because that's the way that you kind of like close that channel. You close channels throughout your life when you have that closed mentality. But when you have that open mentality and you're helping and you're connecting and you're giving tips here and you're truly doing that, success just comes to you. It's just a given. I mean, it's the universe just gives it to you because you become that open-minded and that creator of your success.
That's great. So guys, with these last words, I really want to close with this because it's so beautiful as Claudia just said to us. This last word with an abundant mind. We finalize here our show, our first episode. I'm so grateful to have you, Claudia,
so
here
much. I'm very
for the
grateful
first
for having me.
episode. It was amazing. So be an abundant mind, guys, and follow our show, the Immigrant Ball Show. Hope it was good for you.
Thank you. It was amazing.
And I'm gonna put her information here down in the description. So if you want to be working with her or getting her to be your payment processor, please contact her. She's an amazing, kind person. You're gonna love to have connection with her. Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
Augusto.
guys. And Hamza.